Oh, you don't think they would need to have that level of intelligence to be able to take over?
No, you just need one starting point.
This is not an interview. There is no format. This is simply a conversation about life.
The singularity?
The the singularity. What's the singularity?
I think.
I
Okay, so don't quote me on this, but
mm,
I think it's the the fabled rise of the machines
mm,
where you know an artificial intelligence becomes conscious
mm,
and starts to you know
mm,
evolve and
mm,
take over and be independent of any of its creators or anything like that and stuff
mm,
like that. And
mm,
with all of the with all of the recent progress in certain aspects of machine learning and computer computer science, advances in computer science with respect to speech recognition and computer vision and many of the sort of automatic tasks that the computer can do really fast now. And
mm,
there's a lot of talk about artificial intelligence, powering like self-driving cars and
mm,
your your virtual assistant that you can say, hey, email my mom or
mm,
play This Is Goodbye by Hollis, stuff like that, right?
mm.
Like, and it'll just start magically happening.
Right.
So there's a lot of talk about that because of these technologies that power that, but
Mm.
ultimately, I personally think we're still really far away from the singularity, if we're
Well,
gonna call it that.
the thing is I think that all we need is one computer to understand well, I don't know if computers actually understand concepts.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot of research happening in just like representation,
Hmm.
like learning, like
Hmm.
what's how do you represent knowledge or
Hmm.
thoughts or
Hmm.
whatever, and how does that differ with computers and so really speaking at a high level here,
Hmm.
how do you train a computer to do tasks autonomously, right?
Hmm.
And so you may have heard about this this computer program called AlphaGo, which was it's a Google project, and it plays the Chinese game Go,
Okay.
which is I think it's like 100. It's some checkerboard of squares and different white and black pieces, and
Hmm.
it's like several thousand years old,
Hmm.
and it's a game of strategy where the objective is to gain as much territory as possible by strategically moving and blocking and following the various rules.
Hmm.
And a couple years ago, this machine, AlphaGo, defeated like the reigning human champion,
Hmm.
and it was widely televised and widely hyped as you know the singularity is upon us.
Hmm.
However, if you ask AlphaGo, which has super specialized information about the game,
Hmm.
if it knows that it won, no,
Hmm.
it doesn't. Can
Hmm.
it cross the streets? No, it can't.
Right.
Um, our brains are powered by like I don't know 5 watts,
Hmm.
like chemical energy and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Most of these computer systems are they're really power hungry, and they just to train them
Hmm.
requires an enormous amount of energy, and just so in general, there's a lot of hype about stuff, and I personally think that just looking at the energy efficiency of intelligence,
Hmm.
that the singularity is a long way off. But if you read the popular or even the tech press,
Hmm.
there's a lot of hype about the different progress, the different leaps in progress that have been made over the last half decade
Hmm.
regarding this. And sometimes people get a little bit excited and carried away, imagining or extrapolating forward that, oh my God, like
Hmm.
the self-driving car is going to become alive and take it somewhere I'd rather not
Well,
go.
but the thing is, right? Well, the thing is yeah, if we are if they can get to a point where they're anticipatory of
Mm-hmm.
what your needs are,
Mm-hmm.
then it
They
can
can
maybe
predict in some way the future or anticipate the needs. Yeah.
yeah. And so like I don't know. Yeah, this conversation getting out of control because I was saying if you have like something that's personalized that can start to anticipate the needs of say like a sociopath, right?
Mm. Oh.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You see how this can go? Or because I mean, I don't think it's like the it needs to understand all concepts, just one in particular, and the
Yeah.
concept of death, like
Mm.
survival. This is all the level of intelligence it would need to start behaving to like if
So
it could
basically, you're saying that for something to be self-aware, to be able to, it needs to, the sort of objective it needs to realize is its own self-preservation
yeah. And
at the
then
expense of everything else.
I think once this, because I think this is like the base level of like the ultimate base level of existence is like it's either you live or your species lives. Like you know what I mean? Like it's you live and then your species lives. And if any computer got grasp that concept and because I don't know if a computer knows when it's on or off, you know what I mean, or knows that it was off,
Right.
you know.
Generally speaking, they don't. I mean, a lot of the advances, if you will, or whatever, are really in specialized domains of perception.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding is really like a deeper understanding is really hard. For example, like if you ask Siri or Google Home or whatever, you know, who's the president of the United States? Right? He's gonna answer it. And then so that's like one query, right? And then for me talking to you, you have that history in mind. You know what we've recently talked about. You know the context. Now a couple seconds later, if I say, well, how tall is he? Right? That he refers to my previous request or a question about the president. But that is something that has to be explicitly modeled in a lot of
the he that you're referring to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like that he needs to be to understand who that is. That needs to take into account a lot more context than a lot of the initial versions of these smart assistants have really done. I think they're starting to do that now, but there's a lot of different ways that you could say that. Maybe it's not he, and what's the height, or I mean, there's what I mean. There are different ways that you could phrase that query about height that not directly refer to the subject, that adds complexity to finding out whose height are we really talking about. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I understand. So this would be an easy way to confound the machines, right? Like, because then you could, if it doesn't understand who the he is that you're talking about, I mean, it could still make a guess though. It could then say, okay, well, this is who they were last referring to, so.
Or it could ask for clarification if it doesn't understand, like. So yeah, I mean, I guess I bring that up just to kind of paint the sort of complexities around talking to like naturally speaking to to basically a software system that has to be able to sort of parse out and derive meaning, understanding, and then use that effectively to now participate in a discourse that is more than just, one way, like, hey, turn on my music or email my mom or whatever.
But I mean, see, to me though, this is like I don't think that level of intelligence will be necessary though. I think it's like if you, I think if we were talking about them taking over, right?
Oh, you don't think they would need to have that level of intelligence to be able to take over?
No, not
That's
to.
great.
I don't think they need that level of intelligence to take over. I think this is like for them to want to acquire that level of intelligence, you just need one starting point. And I think if you could theoretically, if you programmed, like, it may not even understand the concept of what it is to be turned off, right?
Yeah.
But you could program if you could program the computer to take precautions when the power level decreases to a certain point, or if the heat level goes to this point, take this action. If you know what I mean? And then
Right.
if it got to a point where it could think of how to avoid being turned off, that's almost the same as a survival instinct.
Right.
Because it would be it's the same reason that if someone throws something at you and you put your hands up to protect your, you know what I mean? Like, you protect your face or you protect your head more than you protect the rest of your body, or like it's such a base process. I don't even think we actually even need to think about it. And I mean, like, yes, of course we are calculating much more than a computer can at one time. But I think with all it needs is just that one, and then I think we would spiral, like, it would spiral out of control, like, after this, like, super fast. You know what I mean? Like,
so imagine that so you have this, so you have this singularity event where the computers, the machines, have risen and are able to survive, or at least not be switched off.
mm-hmm.
Do you feel like their level of threat, right, in terms of competition for resources and other kinds of things that are typically associated with this kind of, there's a certain malevolence that's associated with the singularity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they would just be these benign hordes of machines that are just able to sort of persist or like live, but would they really be threats at that point, with just the ability to not be to be able to defend their existence?
Well, it just depends on what you determine as an emotion, right? Because, like, of course, like, if you could program it to say the motion detector means someone's in the room.
Yeah.
And this person has the ability to unplug.
Right.
Then it will become like, then it may see it as not necessarily as a threat,
right,
but something that would be working against. I mean, I don't, like, is it an emotion that would cause it to do this thing, or it would just calculate that, like, okay, there's movement outside of the room where I am powered, where the power is taking place. So auto lock the door when there's a movement in the hallway.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think these questions are, timeless, and
yeah,
I think it's interesting to think about.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think that we really know where things will. I mean, different people in different fields have different thoughts about what what this really means, and this even that also, of course, in Hollywood or in sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely a portrayal of. There's a drama element, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're all cuddly and affectionate and whatever, that's less dramatic than them trying to control the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think the fantastic rhetoric or the fantasy of it is entangled with its
Mm-hmm.
malevolence. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
so anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But in terms, I would definitely say I would say that in terms of the amount of intelligence per energy unit used, humans are definitely way, way, way more efficient.
Right, right, right.
So I feel like until that gap is closed, just on a purely energy, forget algorithms or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
systems of thought or anything like that, just purely on a power efficiency or energy efficiency
Mm-hmm.
scale. That would be my opinion about when things could
Mm-hmm.
start moving south, as it were.
Yeah.
So,
So you're saying that they couldn't power themselves long enough to get autonomous?
yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Or
Okay.
I would outrun you
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
I can metabolize a sandwich
Yeah. Yeah.
that in a way that can give me a lot more evolutionary leg up on
Yeah. Yeah.
anybody trying to, you know.
Right. Right.
So,
Right. 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 Right.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So we might be all right because we didn't. We
yeah,
don't. Unless